Perfect. Yeah, looks like we're live now. Welcome everyone to the first official workshop for the Web3 AI Hackathon by Venture Miner, Supermoon, and Byte Protocol. But super happy to kick this off with Matheus, who's the founder and CEO at Venture Miner. Before I pass it on to Matheus, who will have more interesting stuff for the workshop, I just want to throw some light on what we're trying to do over here. So basically, this workshop will lead you to DEVCON. This is a hybrid kind of workshop, an online and offline kind of hackathon that will, like I said, lead up to DEVCON. But what we want to encourage over here is, for developers to explore new use case, optimize on-chain processes, and create intelligent agents that sort of enhance the decentralized systems that we have in place. And this is a 3.5 week building period which will comprise of a lot of workshops and mentoring sessions. We will also drop relevant links for you to go through, join the communities, talk to folks over there. We highly encourage you to build like in teams, although solo developers are welcome as well. And yeah, like I said, the primary goal over here would be to build a decentralized application that addresses blockchain issues utilizing AI tools. And the projects would be judged right before DEFCON. And then you would have a lot of mentorship opportunities, a lot of opportunities IRL at DEFCON, where Supermoon would also be doing, a conference or like a mixer for developers. But yeah, that's a bit about it. Like I said, the workshops kick off today and up until I think 24th October is our timeline. And November 8th is your submission deadline, like I said, just before DEFCON. And November 12th is when the big day is, which is the IRL demo day, which will also include presentation and judging for the winner to be announced. So we will have the finalists just before DEFCON and then the winners at the big day, wherein you'll also be able to give your demos to a wide panel of judges, mentors, and yeah, take it up from there. But without ado, Matthias, I won't take a lot of time. I will pass it on to you. Please feel free to talk about what you have for the workshop, or just as a starter, your expectations for the devs, and yeah, an introduction.
Well, that's amazing. Thanks, Miska. Thank you everyone for watching this video today, for being with us. Excited to kick off this series of workshops. We're going to lead you to all that you need to build AI and Web3 applications for you to hack at the maximum effectiveness in DevCon. Okay. I'm Matheus Pagani, founder and CEO of Venture Miner, where we have our academy, Venture Miner Academy, and we are proud to have educated more than 3,000 people for free in these kind of workshops and also coding boot camps, where we bring people to work in cutting edge hard technologies like AI and Web3. And this is exactly what I would like to start speaking about today, is that those fields are big by themselves, and the expectations today, specifically for this workshop, is that if you know a thing or two about Web3, if you have heard about AI, have started to use generative AI in, in your day-to-day life or applying this in some applications, I want to start with a good block of understanding generative AI and putting it to practical use through OpenAI APIs and some other techniques for you to take your own conclusions about this, if it is intelligent or not. It's going to be quite quick to discover the answer. And then we're going to use that specifically for code generation, for coding with us, generating code for the application that we're going to build. And we're going to use an Web3 development tooling with AI generated code by the end of today's workshop to build the app in less than 5 minutes or so, getting the best of both worlds. So it's going to be a packed 15 minutes up to 1 hour workshop, and I'm also providing mentorship, question and answer support for everyone after. Okay, so count on me. Even if you watch this video later, count on me. I'm going to show some channels that we could do uh, Q&A, just discussions and troubleshooting. So we are going to have all of the resources needed for you to hack at the maximum potential for this hackathon. Very good. You're ready to start. I would like to share a link for a repository for us to have all of the same, everyone the same page. This is not much um, lesson where I'm going to be talking and talking. We are going to code together, follow step by step if possible. So let me paste the link here for us to share into the chat. You're going to find in the comment sections, and we are going to update in the description of the videos later too, for you to follow a repository from my academy called Wagami. Wagami Academy, where everyone's invited to join. And we are just starting, kick it off here in the Bay Area in San Francisco, by the way, with our first AI to Web3 bootcamp last week. Super hot, right? And now we are doing those online series. Hope that everyone liked the content. And I'll share my screen to guide you through the material. Start screen sharing. Okay, so if you open this link on your browser, you're going to see this material. This is a GitHub repository. If you are a hacker, you might know very well what this is, where we can track code, we can submit changes to this repository, and you're going to see the live changes reflecting on your machine. And here I have all of the documentation in bullet points of what is needed for today's lesson. Okay. I suggest that you clone this code for your machine by clicking this green button, downloading this, or cloning with the CLI if you know how to use the CLI, because ideally you would have your coding environment ready to use like this. You would have an IDE where you can go through the documentation and even work with the code. Okay. If you don't have yet, I'm going to show the idea. Maybe you're here for the AI content. Maybe you have an idea for your product and you did not start looking on the coding part of it yet. So ideally, you can pick a thing or two during this workshop, especially in the introduction part about what is AI. Okay, so all of the content is here in that inside that repository. As I mentioned a while ago, we have places for you to ask questions and issues if you have problems with some of the lessons, and discussions too about feedbacks, about questions, about ideas, hackathon ideas. You're going to find all of the members working this repository, which is public. Okay, anyone can come and participate. There is no gatekeeping here. Okay, just come ask your questions and be part of this lesson. Okay, we are going to start with this README as I'm uh, guiding you. You might have enough time to download it there already. That is going to provide the overview of this workshop and the bullet points. And we're going to get the fundamentals of building a decentralized applications with generative AI. Okay, so we are not going to dwell too much into the dApps part itself today. We're going to plan another workshop specifically for that later. For now, we're going to understand more how generative AI can lead us there. Okay, so let's understand with that very important question of what is AI. And there are a lot of different answers for that because this is changing very fastly, especially before 2022, that AI was understood like algorithm where you could uh, where you could propose machine learn neural networks to solve problems without explicitly coding things. The first mention was back there in 1956, and it was more like to automate tasks or to resolve complex mathematical and statistical problems without actually coding everything explicitly. In the early 2000s, we saw a lot of hype around AI for marketing, for search engines like Google, for marketplaces like Amazon, eBay, whatever, that could find your best product recommendation and blah, blah, blah. But in November 30th of November of 2022 that changed a lot with the ChatGPT launch. That was supposed to be much more like a test, prototype, academic test from OpenAI to see how GPT-3 would behave in a chatting environment, but it sparked a whole explosion of AI applications because it was the first time that you could harness all of the possibilities, all of the capabilities of AIs that were possible before without domain knowledge, with plain English, just chatting, actually in any language. So that was huge and gave uh, birth to a whole new series of applications and implementations of AI that have nothing to do with just automation of tasks. It's not some data sets that you have to work yourself that would require like a data engineering, that would require a machine learning understanding, statistics, and all of that. After November 30th of 2022, with ChatGPT and all that came after, you could have a simple tool for you to generate AI, pass on information to it, get information from it without being an engineer, an AI engineer that could attempt to even understand the content, not just process data. And this is what we're going to use today for generating code. Okay. But before that, before we use AI for code generation, let's address a misconception here. A misconception present in the name of AI. Because whenever we think of AI, artificial intelligence, and we know that it's artificial, it is true, but there is a very complex word called intelligence that we're going to see how we are going to read this word intelligence when speaking for AI, especially for code generation before we get there. Okay. Give me like 10 minutes for this explanation and you're going to understand what I'm speaking about. There's some sort of fake news here that we need to understand. Okay. So when you are working with generative AI, on AI itself, is ideally you wouldn't program explicitly, or you wouldn't have to program explicitly some chains of algorithms, ifs and else's and instructions to solve every kind of tasks that the computer wants to solve. This is how we do things. For example, we are streaming video now. We are streaming audio and video. This was explicitly coded by someone in some backend, hosting some backend with some scripts that can do this kind of program. You have here, for example, GitHub. It was coded with explicit script to do that. This is the common way for us to do code, right? But now with generative AI, instead of having a program to do every kind of small computation, you would have a generalistic program that could take any kind of text or input or other kind of inputs, as we're going to see later, and have an output from it, even images or videos sometimes. So, for example, imagine a translator. Imagine a system that would translate text from a language to another, picking words in a dictionary, applying some grammar rules, and then comparing context, considering all the idiomatic expressions for every single word. If you would do this, it would take years or hundreds of years, even with a huge team of programmers, for you to simply have some small natural language processing capabilities for translation here. For example, imagine the word dog. We know that it's an animal. We say dog, we think in that animal, okay. But then you have hot dog. That's not an animal. That is a food. That in some context, we can understand that it's not a dog, an animal that is hot in temperature, but actually it's the name of a street food that we have in many places in the world. So this kind of contextual comparisons, they change a lot in many different ways. So being able to program that by hand with ifs and elses, it is a tremendous difficult task to program that explicitly. So instead of doing this code with if and else and instructions, you could have AI models, machine learning models with neural networks, deep neural networks that can be trained for statistically solving the task without necessarily handling the actual reasoning, understanding, and ifs and elses of that task. Okay, so this training process of a model, an AI model, would be done by feeding the model with examples of the tasks, examples of this word and translation, for example, in that scenario that I have put here, and then the model would try to make correlations, statistical correlations that whenever I have this input, I have that output. This input, that output. And it's not done in an intelligent way. No, it's really, really, really random with billions and billions of chunks of data that eventually, through mathematics and statistics, the model can learn those patterns and rules to statistically solve the task. This is something that has repercussions on the textual generation, the, all tasks that we're going to see, because the model is not reasoning, is not thinking like humans do, some animals do. It is just statistically correlating the content, the strings that we are passing. So in this situation, the model can predict correct answers or related answers for new examples passed, but it's not by thinking. It is just by statistically relating one text to another that was in the training data. So when we use generative AI made like this without something that we call neurosymbolic processing, these are AIs, for example, from OpenAI, from GPT 4.0 Cloud, Microsoft, from Google. They all follow this same pattern. Uh, Not speaking, for example, Google DeepMinds, but all of the other uh, current state-of-the-art models that we have, they follow this. So they are not intelligent itself. Okay, we're going to see that. And they can pick any kind of content as input, uh, usually just text, but those multimodal models can have inputs of text, image, audio, video, and they can output also text, image, audio, and video. And ideally, you would be able to put a prompt in natural language without specific domain knowledge, without like prompt design, a prompt engineer, or whatever. You would just ask like you ask a normal person, and then you would have an answer of that coming from the model, coming from the AI application, according to what we would expect a person, an intelligent person, to answer. For example, ChatGPT. You can do a very brief test here. Just see if I'm sharing my whole screen. Yes, it seems I am. Okay. So, what is the weather? I'm here in San Francisco. So, what is the weather in San Francisco today? This is a question we could put in Google, could put in other places. And this ChatGPT is empowered to do web searches, to do um, a function calling for weather that can pick this information from the web and then translate that for me. This could be done with a simple script, Python script, JavaScript script, whatever, that would fetch this information from a website and answer for us. Okay, so there is not much intelligence here. But then I can ask follow-up questions. For example, is this a good weather for a walk in the park? maybe this could be something that I could program with Python, TypeScript, whatever, that would make some ifs and else's for picking this question, but it is way more tricky. So then I have this chatty answer. Yes, today weather is ideal for a walk in the park with temperatures around 22 degrees, sunny skies, and gentle breeze. It's comfortable, blah, 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 blah. And then imagine a totally random question. So, like this, I am Brazilian and I'm not used to cold weathers. What do you suggest me to wear today when going out? Do you really expect someone to code ifs and else's for every kind of nationality and clothings options that would be possible here? This wouldn't be humanly possible. It would take hundreds of years with huge teams to program every kind of situations of a chat of a natural language uh, processing interaction here. So look at this answer. It seems like a person. Seems like I'm chatting, for example, with my wife here. She's telling me what would be the best piece of clothing to wear now, according to the weather, uh, what the kids would wear, and blah blah blah. So this kind of intelligence is possible with AI. This kind of a generalistic purpose answer is possible with AI. Yes, but look, there is a misconception here because it seems that the application can understand. Did someone program the application to understand generate text for each single word in each single language? No, the application was trained to understand and generate text. Okay, but look, we humans, we understand like training humans, training maybe animals, pet animals, and all for them to behave differently after training. But a computer, how do we train a computer? Like I can yell at it, or how to make a computer react like a person or maybe an animal. So this is the idea of machine learning. A computer program is set to learn from experience E with respect of some class of tasks T and performance measure P, if and only if, whenever I have more experience E, for this task P, T, the performance is increased. So the performance in task T as measured in P improves with experience E. So let's put some examples. My experience with cooking dinner, cooking barbecues. With this task T, cooking, I have a performance P, like meat. I'm a beginner or middle level in cooking. The more experience I have in cooking, this task cooking, performance is going to increase, improving with more experience. This is the definition from Tom Mitchell et al. That would allow a computer to process a task with more performance given more experience. This is not what happens normally. When you open your computer and you run a program like YouTube, like a browser playing YouTube, the more videos it plays, the performance is the same. The code is the same regardless of how much you watch YouTube videos or no, how much you use GitHub or use any other program that you might have. With machine learning, no, this performance can increase over time. But does it mean that the computer is learning or thinking or even conscious? Imagine I can ask questions like this. Do you like this weather? And then the answer, it would seem like I'm chatting with a person. Like, I would definitely enjoy this kind of weather. So, yeah, it is. it is personalizing an answer as if it was a person. Like, what would you wear in this weather? So the AI is answering like it could dress itself, like it could go out, like it could do activities, it would go for the park and all. And it's like, wait, is this computer conscious? Like it understand what is going out in the park? It understands the concept of I as a person, something like that. What is happening? So what is happening here? Wait, what is happening here is that those LLMs, as we have right now, the state of art LLMs, they are more like a stochastic parrot. Okay, it is still in discussion how close these models are from intelligence or not. But the idea here is that when we say stochastic, it's like randomly determined by guesswork. Okay, they are like parrots that repeat, mimic human speech, repeating the words without understanding the meanings, randomly, statistically repeating that according to what you are asking. So nothing here it's part of a reasoning process, not even with GPT-4o1, even if you saw the news now. Yes, we have chain of thought, but this is not reasoning. And we have a lot of articles backing this up because right now what we have is just text being generated randomly. The model is just making up outputs based on the training data. So there is no neurosymbolic processing that would actually make the program relate concepts to each other in the form of reason. Okay, right now it's just statistical. Okay, the more attention this would have regarding to the other one, according to the training data sets like internet text and all, it would be more probable or not to give that output. Okay, there is a very interesting philosophical proposition by John Sully in 1980. That would be the Chinese room. Okay, you can read about that later. That is proposing what is really some sort of mentality of reasoning, and if the simulation of mentality could be considered as a replication of mentality. And there is no answer for that yet. It's very philosophical. Like uh, emulated heat is heat itself. Like you pick a fire and you emulate that with balls, like plastic balls. Is that actually fire? No, you know that. You pick a tornado and you emulate that with plastic balls. Is that a tornado? No. But for example, you pick an algorithm doing a loop and you replicate that with all the we're teaching that in a lesson, for example, coding lesson, and you replicate that with all the statements. The replication of a loop is a loop. So there are some things that stop to be that thing when emulated, and there are some other things that are the thing when emulated. And this is very theoretical. Okay, this is not my intention for this short workshop. I just wanted to post those links here if you want to dive deep on this. What is indeed understanding this whole evolution of human understanding about understanding itself. And the spoiler here is like there is no consent yet. Some people say that this problem doesn't exist and stop discussing there, and some people try to resolve and they don't resolve. This one is very good because it even mentioned the idea of artificial intelligence at the end. So it's a very good read. And this whole definition of artificial replication of mentality is not solved yet. But what I can guarantee is that for now, what we have some weak AI models that are more like stochastic parrots that can't understand things. They just randomly generate outputs, which means that they make mistakes, they hallucinate. And when speaking about code generation, We are about half an hour in the workshop. It's a good time to introduce this. Whenever we're speaking about AI for code generation, we are still speaking about this. Okay, we are not thinking the code generation process is not thinking like a developer. It's not actually putting the correct functions and the correct statements one after the other because it's thinking, because it's reasoning and know it what it has to do, and it's coding like a developer. No, what we have here for code generation with AI, it's much more in the random effect. Okay, it's much more like a stochastic pair, much more like uh, um, statistic correlations of code snippet and label data than it is actual process of reasoning, of going through ideas, of thoughts and comparing them. What would be best, would be worse according to the YouTube videos or the documentations. Right now we have a very good statistical um, answers for things like this. Could ask it to generate some piece of code to it would generate, but we don't have reasoning yet. So that is this whole discussion if AI are going to replace developers, Well, it might replace in the future, but for now, if you still need intelligence, like reasoning, you still need humans. Unfortunately, this might change, or fortunately, don't know what is going to happen, how people are going to use this, but it might change in the years or maybe months or maybe even weeks, okay? Because we never know how fast we're going to achieve actual reasoning in those models. But for now, it's not reason. So intelligence here is like some sort of fake news. It is intelligence, pero no mucho, not actually reasoning. Can get close to that, but not there yet. So we are going to use these tools, these AI tools and copilots, to uh, we're going to see the efficiency here. Okay, don't worry about the expectations so far, but we're going to use it much more like a co-pilot, maybe replacing some tasks, some operational tasks, but we are going to always review and follow the code generation that happens there. Okay, unlike those general purpose LLMs like ChatGPT that I have been using here as a showcase, we are going to see some specific models and applications made for code generation that are able to receive text input or image input or even video and audio, and then output code or code in the middle of text. So that's just another kind of text or representation too. And I have pointed some that I find um, uh, more of a visually representing of what AI can do. For example, V0 and Make Real. But for today, I'm going to use more a cursor for P programming with AI. Okay. So let me just do some examples. You don't need to follow those right now on your machine, just for visualization. That we can pick AI models like this one from Versal, V0, and ask anything in plain language, in plain natural language. For you to develop a website, usually you need to know coding tools like TypeScript, JavaScript, Python, Ruby on Rails, or something like that. PHP that can be used for creating a website, HTML, CSS, and all of this. Or now you can just know English. So, for example, create a simple website for clothing suggestions um, that for um, reading the weather and making clothing suggestions. Eh, that would go beyond this chat interface here, this single uh, just natural text going back and forth. And here we would have a suggestion of some piece of code. You see that there is a chatty answer that would be like speaking to us. And here we have this generation pane that is actually typing line by line what would be the actual program to do this, like a developer, like a human software engineer would do. Okay, but here remember it's not thinking; it's just relating what we have in the training data and pasting the code there. It's just that it's so good in doing this statistic relation that look how it goes. I can get the weather, for example, for San Francisco, get the weather, and then it's going to do some clothing suggestion in the bottom. I guess it did not implement the coding suggestion itself because the text did not change, but here I have the weather in San Francisco. How's the weather in Rio de Janeiro? Let me see. Get the weather. Hate, doubt. 27. Something is wrong here. There's never 8 degrees in Rio de Janeiro. But okay, don't know where I picked Rio de Janeiro here with 8 Celsius, but here I have a suggestion for a warm jacket, sweater, and long pants. So the fetching of the information is wrong, but the clothing suggestion is right. You see? So do not trust AI generated code straight out of the AI because it can make mistakes, it can hallucinate, it's not stable yet. Okay. Yes, this might change in the following weeks, months, and years, but for now, this is the state of things as we have nowadays, as of October 2024. Okay, but look, that was a good example, a good application built with Next.js, as we're going to see later today, and it's usable. That is, this interface is not bad at all. Okay, it uh, it can make mistakes. Please use discretion. That's good, but it can be usable. It can be used. So I have some code generation model examples like Code Llama, Copilot, Cursor, Replit, Key Developer from uh, Amazon, Cody, Devin, the AI software engineers. There are many others that we're going to find out there. And I'm going to suggest, because we still have to double check everything that the AI is doing, the Cursor, this one that I'm using now for this presentation for reading to this README. That is a free application that you can download. You can download for Windows, for Linux, for Mac, and they do have a paid plan that you can pay if you want. But you can also configure your own API keys or your own models there for you to use that for free. They even have a free model, free version that you can use all of those AI capabilities, like this one that we saw here and this chat here, inside the application itself. Okay. So while I explain this, you may download and install depending on your environment. For example, Linux. Specifically here, that I'm using Ubuntu 22, I guess. I don't remember that is the latest version of Ubuntu. It's a little tricky to set up. In Mac, maybe tricky too. But ideally, you are going to download and install that and create a free account so that you can start using Cursor for coding. For example, I can pick this README, okay, this whole README that I have here. I'm using Cursor, and I can start asking it to make code or to change things on this, just like I did here in this chat. But here it's much more like a pair programming application because now I can start making changes as I write those files. So that is a composer. You may change those keyboard shortcuts for you, depending on where you migrate from VS Code or not. Just download and install it might work out of the box. For example, I can select a whole file and open. I can open um, input field with Control key or Command key, Command K, okay, Control K or Command K, that I can do instructions. For example, like translate this lesson to French. I didn't speak French, but now I can have introduction à la webetry, yeah, something like that. I don't speak French very well, but now I have all of the content here, and it's suggesting line by line. I can even review. Let's say if I knew how to speak French, I would see instead of building AI powered apps, I have like this construction de l'application de celle-ci alimentée par la l'IA. Sorry if there's any French people listening. That might not be 100% accurate, but it is working. I can see change by change, line by line. This is very visual because it's doing that in language translation, but it could do that with code too, as we're going to see. And the AI is editing like line by line, doing these changes as it goes, as its generation. Okay. I'm going to cancel this generation. I don't want to translate this lesson for French right now, but you can imagine where this is going, right? You can practically do that embedded with anything you want. There is also a chat with Control L that you can open, Command L or Control L, to ask about anything about this code base or about anything that would have the context of this file. So, for example, I can ask question where in this file I mention cursor IDE, and then the chat might answer the line uh, with and it answer like this: the cursor IDE is mentioned in the peer-to-peer program with AI section of the README. Here is the relevant excerpt. So this is exactly what I'm asking about, and then I can ask a follow-up question like, do you think that this is a good tool to code with? And then this becomes like a chat, a normal chat with an AI using the pieces that I have, using the pieces of information that I have in my code. So look, let's make a little appendix here. This is going to be your teacher. Of course, it can hallucinate. Of course, it's not 100% reliable yet. Might never be, we never know. But this could teach you things. It could point the links for documentation. For example, uh, where is the documentation for this tool? And then you can ask follow-up questions about things that you don't understand. This AI might be able to expand your knowledge. Of course, you can still ask for a human. I'm going to be here to guide you all answering questions. But now you have something peer programming with you, like a senior dev, kind of crazy, hallucinating, tripping senior dev that can answer any questions, right or wrong, because it's kind of trippy, but it can in real time assist you with anything. And yes, I asked it for the website, and here I have the website here being highlighted for me, okay, with the features and the IG itself. So chat, code composer, those are great features for us to use when coding. Okay, so this is my suggestion. Be a program with AI instead of delegating that for AI models right now. And we're going to use it for web development, for developing decentralized applications with some web development tools. Okay. For that, of course, you're going to need a text editor like VS Code, like Sublime, Atom, or Cursor that I just demonstrated, a web browser for you to access these websites that we are building, these applications we are building, quite trivial. A terminal, for example, this one that I have here open, where I'm, for example, I'm in my desktop. I should be able to list files. It is empty, clear the terminal. I don't have anything. Make directories, for example, um, um, intro to AI. Okay, you can create directories with your normal computer, like Finder or Explorer, whatever. There's no need to do that through the terminal, but I'm showing this just so you know that I'm going to be using that for code generation for application building, and you should have some idea of what I'm doing. For example, change directory to intro AI, okay, these kind of commands. We're going to need a version control system such as Git for downloading repositories and updating them as we go. Some JavaScript runtime like Node, if you don't have that installed now, some of the things that I'm going to run in my computer are not going to work for you, but it's quite easy to install. You can even use a program called Node Version Manager, NVM, available for Windows, for Linux, and for Mac, anything that could install Node for you in your system. And then we're going to use package managers like npm, but you can also use yarn, pnpm, bun, or any other that you would like for coding with us. Okay, and we're going to code using this framework called Next.js. That is a framework on top of React that is going to provide us most of the functionalities that we need out of the box. Okay, it's opinionated. React itself, it's a library. It's very famous. You might have heard a lot about that, but it's not a framework itself. It is in the documentation of React. It's not a framework. It's a library, so it can be tricky for newcomers. We're going to be using Next.js as a framework on top of React because it's one of the most famous, with most adoption, with the most documentation. I understand them very well. There are some very good toolings for building dApps with Next.js, as we're going to see in the final minutes of today's lesson. Okay, but getting started with it, it is very simple. Okay, there's the whole documentation here for you to understand what is going on as with the code that we are going to do. What is TSX? What are those components, the hooks, the stylings that we're going to see? But for today, for this workshop, the process is going to be quite straightforward. Okay, we're going to create a folder like this folder that I have already set aside. You can create another folder inside this folder too. Why not? Copy this command here. I'm going to create my project, so whatever folder name that you want. Just remember to pick a safe location, like documents, desktop, anywhere that is safe inside your computer. And then we are going to create a project with npm, with node package execution for create next app. That is going to do the whole scaffolding process of creating that app from scratch for us. So I'm going to have some questions to answer here. This is going to install all the dependencies and set up this project for us. And that's it. I don't need to configure it from scratch, import everything from scratch. No, this is going to create an application for us. Now, if I enter this folder and run this application with npm, I'm going to see it running there. Okay, I don't need to do all of the setup myself. It's all handled by this script. Okay, is this AI? No, no AI for now. It's just an explicit program doing that for me. Okay, so if I enter this folder, my next app, and if I run the script of development, then I'm going to see the application there. The application hosted in localhost. For example, my own computer hosting the application here for me with this code hosted. And this is it. This is a fully working web page hosted in my own computer that I can change. I can edit this file, app page.tsx, and all, and start making changes. They would reflect here in this application. But what I want to build today is not any common normal web page. What I want to build today is actually, even stop the server now, is actually one AI app that is going to use the text to text processing capabilities of ChatGPT, like we have here, or even code generation, like V0 that we are having here, inside our own app. And now you might be thinking, oh my God, I need to run this whole model inside my app, inside Next.js, inside JavaScript, and here where the confusion sometimes begins. So let me explain. I'm going to skip this exercise that we have here in the documentation just because of the type of the time that we have. But let me explain this confusion. We do not need to run the AI model inside the application, the web application. Of course not. We have AI APIs for that. For example, we can use the OpenAI platform that you can go for platform.openai.com. You can create your account there. So let me log in with my Google account here. And then you can create, you're going to have access to this dashboard. You can create projects there. Then you can create these API keys. I have some created here for me to use. You can do that, create an account, go for register, go for your dashboard. Then you can have those API keys. So you don't need necessarily to run the AI models there on your device, in the device of the user, in the web page, whatever. You can do those calls through the API itself. For example, text generation call, that you can generate new text, for example, by passing this kind of prompt. Can be done, for example, in JavaScript, can be done in Python, can be done in many other implementations, so that you don't need to run the model locally. You can defer this call through API, and this is super convenient for us. Okay, so I'm going to skip the previous exercise that we had here. I'm going to jump directly for using OpenAI platform. Okay, we can even test the platform with this playground. If you're curious about what is text to text, text to text task can do, what the chat through API can do. This playground is a great playground. It's a great sandbox environment for you to test what is happening, what it can answer, what are the configurations and all. Okay, so I have suggested a short experiment for you to do here if you want to understand what is going on, what are those parameters. And we are going to implement this now in an application. Okay. We're going to use OpenAI APIs to interact with these models over HTTP. Okay. And since they are going to do computation over there, they need to charge you. So a few cents of dollars or even less. So if you go for a dashboard, you've got to set up billing here. You go here for usage and billing. Actually, I guess it's settings. Yeah, settings, you would need to set up billings here for billing for it to work for you. $5 or less, it can work, okay, people. And then you would be able to create an API key and consume it here for you to authenticate those requests, saying that you are yourself, you are willing to pay for those calls. Okay, so that would be the idea. So for this short workshop, I'm going to create a simple chat page on top of the next JS, this application that we just created here. These files here, okay, are going to be our starting point. And I'm going to I'm going to tweak the code that is present inside this initial app, inside this application we just did a while ago, just the setup, the blend out of the box blank state. And we're going to implement a chat interface powered by OpenAI APIs with those two pieces of code. And that is enough. You're going to see that it is going to work. Okay. So the first addition is going to be this file, page.tsx, that you're going to find inside the repository that we just created. Okay, so you might have there, for example, my project, my next app, I have it created here. I'm going to open that inside Cursor, why not, with this command. Let me actually open through here, open a new file, instead of going that with desktop, intro AI, my project, my next app. Instead of opening the whole project, I'm going to open specifically this page.tsx that I'm mentioning. Okay. I have a lot of information inside of it. It is the information that comes pre-configured when you install this application. Let me copy this code and let me replace everything. This code is basically giving us an interface, chat interface for us to put a message there and for it to answer this message with some sort of hello world message, something like that. Okay. I have my OpenAI key set in my machine. I have it configured in my machine, so I don't need to create a dot and file for this project. If you don't have it in your environment, if you have just discovered about OpenAI, you just need to create a dot .env file inside the project and paste your key there for it to be used by OpenAI. Okay, and then I'm going to create a new folder called API inside the app folder, and a new folder called chat inside this API folder. It needs to be this structure, okay? So look, I have this app folder, cd app. I'm going to create a new folder called API. I'm going to enter API, and then I'm going to make a new folder called chat, and I'm going to enter chat. It needs to be this structure, okay? App, API, chat for Next.js to understand. Then I'm going to make this file called route.ts. Let me open this file too in the same path that we have, intro AI, my project, app, API, chat, route.ts, and I'm going to paste this code there, this API code. This is going to make a call for OpenAI API. For it to work, I need to install it. It's not installed yet. Good that we have a package manager called npm to install this for us. I can do it with this simple command npm install OpenAI. I need to run that in the root folder. So let me go back some folders. This is the root folder. I can install OpenAI package that is one of the dependencies, and it is going to work. Now I can start my app with this command npm run dev, and you're going to see the interface. But just by having the interface there, it doesn't mean that I'm already implementing the call, that I can call the chat yet. I have an input here, close some tabs, in place. I have hello world written, and I have this backend code for the route.ts for answering using the OpenAI API for doing completions. This model GPT for OpenMini, for example. I just need to integrate those now. I have the two components needed. I just need to integrate those. So I'm going to replace the existing code that I have in my application with this whole chat interface inside the page.tsx. You don't need to worry with whether to paste. Just replace everything. Place everything. And then this is automatically going to update your website. And when you go for the chat page for your local host, now you have this. You can ask a message like, hello, click on send. This is going to take a little while, but then I'm going to have the response. Hello, how can I assist you today? And here we have a very simple implementation of one AI app using the OpenAI APIs, but it's here, it's working. Okay? Now imagine the amount of things that you can do with this very simple implementation. Okay? For you to build your own the app, now that you know the flow of it, the environment that you need, the AI tools needed for you to code together, I recommend you for using this repository called Scaffold ETH that can get you started with anything that you need for the app development that use Next.js, exactly the structure that we saw with Rainbow Kit, Botany, TypeScript, that accepts Hot Hat Foundry, that can connect to MetaMask, can connect to many chains, and they have like extensions from many other projects like the Graph, like any using DEXs and any kind of implementation, and it can be a great starter for you to uh, get get yourself acquainted to coding the apps with speedrun Ethereum. One of the quickest way for you to start building your the apps, connecting it to a front end, to the smart contracts, minting NFTs, decentralizing staking apps, and many cool things. And yes, AI can help you to code with these tools too. Okay. If you have any further questions after this workshop, I encourage you to create discussions with questions or even issues with questions. You can come here, create new discussions, provide feedback for this lesson, for this workshop. You can provide feedback on projects, ask for questions on projects, ideation, all of that. This can be a great resource for us to keep chatting. And we would invite everyone to join our Telegram group. You can find in the link of this repository. So you can chat with fellow students, you can chat with me there, see firsthand all the announcements for future workshops, boot camps, hackathons, and all that we're going to be participating. And you're going to find a lot of community members eager to collaborate for Web3 and AI there too. Okay, I hope that you enjoyed this short workshop, but uh, this was quick and ideally, you are much closer to building your first AI-powered app now. Thank you very much for participating today.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Matheus. That was super helpful, very interesting as well. Yeah, AI. There are two different ways to integrate AI in your Web3 app. Both of these are hot narratives, which will stay. But yeah, if you always had something to build on your list, this hackathon might be a very good opportunity for you since it also has an in-person element, a mentorship, a demo day. So yeah, this might be the one for you. Please do not hesitate to reach out to us. Feel free to go on the Telegram group, chat with other builders. Feel free to um, hop on the DoraHacks Discord as well. Find teams to build with, and all the information that you actually need is present on the hackathon page on DoraHacks that uh, we've also dropped on the chat. Yes, we've done that. But yeah, if you have any question, feel free to reach out to me as well. I'm at Mishika, MISHIKA251 on Twitter and Telegram. Happy to assist you through any operational question that you might have with respect to how to submit your build, how to register for the hackathon, how to register as a hacker, and how to get access to the IRL event demo day happening at DEVCON. But yeah, Matheus, thank you so much for the time today, and we have a thank you in the chat. Yeah, but yeah, no questions for now, and good luck to everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And feel free to, for the devs watching this today, feel free to come back to it. You will have all the recorded links on the hackathon page itself in the workshop section of the page. Feel free to revisit it at your own pace and keep an eye on the future workshops coming up as well. Yeah.
Amazing.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Matheus.
you.
Thank you everyone
Yep.
for tuning in. Bye bye.
Bye bye.